Welcome back, college football fans and black and gold fans, to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. This is my instant reaction and recap to Iowa's 15-13 victory yesterday over Illinois inside Kinnick Stadium. And with that victory, Hawkeye fans, Hawkeye Nation, black and gold fans, that's it. We have a champion. Congratulations, Hawkeye Nation. What a victory, what a day to be a Hawkeye fan. That is right, it is wrapped up. With that victory, Iowa officially punches their ticket to Indianapolis as the 2023 Big Ten West Division champions, and they will face either mighty Michigan or Ohio State, depending on how that game turns out next week in this year's edition of The Game. So congratulations, Hawkeye fans, Hawkeye alums, Hawkeye fans, students, players, everybody. And what a great day and weekend to be a Hawkeye. So that's my opening thoughts on this game. And woo, you talking about coming down to the wire. Said this game ended up being 15-13, as I stated, and really just your typical type of Iowa victory. Congratulations. I got to give a big shout out to the Illinois Fighting Illini. I mean, you know, in case some of you forgotten, coming into this game, Illinois still had an opportunity to claim the division title for themselves. They had to win out. They needed Iowa to lose both games, and then they needed a little bit of help. And Illinois really started playing better football later in the season. And this matchup, for you Illinois fans, I have tagged you. This is what I love. I mean, growing up in Northwest Illinois, I'm 42 years old. This reminded me of the matchups of old. I mean, back in the day, mid-'80s to late '90s, it was must-see football. Watching Illinois and Iowa on the gridiron, both teams were legit. There was a lot of bragging rights, especially where I grew up. Basically, Iowa City was an hour and 10 minutes due west, so I was just across the border on the IL side, and I loved it. I mean, I loved watching those matchups as a child and a young man, and it's really a shame that even though I'm very excited for realignment and expansion next season, when the West Coast teams join the Big Ten, it's just something that it makes me sad not knowing that Illinois and Iowa are going to play every season. Of the new protected rivalries for next year, Iowa is the only team that has 3. We have Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Nebraska will play every year, but not Illinois, and that's really a shame. So Illinois fans, be very proud of your team. They showed up with everything to play for in a hostile environment on senior day, and we're this close to pulling it off. So when I go into the stats on this game, wow, I mean, it really was punch for punch, play for play. I mean, when you look at stats, it's basically a complete wash. I mean, this was a really clean, entertaining game. Just looking at the stats, for example, first of all, first downs were tied at 18 apiece. Third downs, 5 of 15 for Illinois, 6 of 16 for Iowa. Once again, those cancel each other out. Total yards, 280 for Illinois, 281 for Iowa. Basically another complete cancellation. Passing yards, Illinois have the advantage with 215 to Iowa's 167. Rushing yards, that was Iowa's advantage, 114 for Iowa to 65 of Illinois. Penalties, Illinois, 6 for 53 yards. Iowa, 6 for 70 yards. I mean, it's really mind-blowing how just close this game was, not only on the scoreboard, but within the stat sheet. And the possession time was the one kind of difference, but it really catered to the style of offenses. Time of possession, Iowa had the ball for 33 minutes and change to Illinois' 26 minutes and change. But that's something that doesn't really tell all, because the Illinois offense moves at a much faster pace than Iowa's. So when you look at the style of play, basically time of possession is also even Steven across the board. So what a game we witnessed. There were 0 turnovers for each team. So once again, very cleanly played. Now, if you want to get technical, and trust me, I'm going to lament on this and expand on this here shortly. There was 1 turnover, but it did come on a turnover on downs late in the fourth quarter. And like I said, I'll talk about that here in a little bit. I don't want to get my blood pressure up quite yet. So a very, very entertaining, closely fought contest between 2 rivals that go back a ways. And it's, like I said, it's really a shame, Illinois and Iowa fans, not to see this every season. I understand having the protected rivalry with Minnesota for the Floyd of Rosedale Trophy, the Divine Swine. I get it with Nebraska. I mean, when they joined the Big Ten, somebody had to be their rival. It makes sense for Iowa being a border rival as well. But with Wisconsin, I get it, but I don't. I would have rather had Illinois been a protected rivalry myself. I don't have anything negative to say about the Fighting Illini's performance, except for the one thing I am going to bring up here in a little bit. Iowa, Deacon Hill had a very solid, workmanlike performance on Saturday on Senior Day. He was 19 of 29, 167 yards, 1 touchdown to 0 interceptions, and he did not turn the ball over. He did fumble right before the first half, but it was recovered by Iowa. It was a strip sack, basically, and it was recovered by the offense. So once again, if this Iowa offense just takes care of the ball, they're going to be potentially in striking distance with most opponents. But if they turn the ball over and if they put themselves in bad situations, it'll be very tough for them to beat anybody on the gridiron, because of the room for error with this Iowa offense is pencil thin, basically a pencil thin mustache as far as the room for error for this offense. Defense, I mean, for Iowa, I mean, they continue to do what they do. I mean, looking at this, I believe now that looking at the results here, the schedule of the 11 games played. Now, Iowa still has 1 game remaining, Black Friday next week against Nebraska in Lincoln. That of the 11 games Iowa has played, they have held 9 opponents. 9 out of 11 to 14 points or less. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. I mean, once again, nobody seems to understand the defense that's happening in Iowa City year in and year out. I watched this game yesterday with a couple of coworker buddies of mine, and even they were like, you know, this is unbelievable when Iowa is not littered with 4- and 5-star recruits on defense. Yes, they do put some cats into the next level at the NFL, but we're not Georgia. We're not Michigan. We're not those defensive juggernauts that can basically just pick and plug 4- and 5-star recruits aplenty. It's really just how the Iowa defense, the scheme, how they're developed, how they execute, and coaching. It's a thing of beauty. 9 out of 11, 14 points or less. Yes, some of you might there, hey, you play in the Big Ten West, you're not playing offensive juggernauts. True, but it's still a Division I power conference division that they play in. They play 9 conference opponents, and just some of you down south, a certain conference, SEC, Iowa did not play an FCS opponent this year, on top of playing 9 conference games to your 8. So, yeah, I mean, just looking really quickly, I looked this up right before I came on air with you guys. Total defense, just to prove my point, Iowa currently is 7th in the nation in total defense. and nobody seems to talk about them. But here they are, 9-2 division champs with the worst offense in the nation, statistically and via the eyeball test. Sorry, Hawk fans, I'm not trying to disrespect us, but it's the truth. The Iowa offense is the ongoing joke in college football. But here we are, 9-2, division champions, primarily in large part due to our defense and our special teams. I mean, number 7 in the nation in total defense yet again this season. And nobody seems to know that. Shh, the best kept secret in the nation. All right? Oh, and by the way, thank you for your time, your attention. If this is your first time on the Touchdown Black and Go vlog, I'm your normal host, Blair Parks. I'm a little bit off my game because I'm so excited, so thrilled as a Hawk fan to see that come to fruition yesterday. Please like, share, subscribe. I always invite and welcome your participation. I want to hear from you, college football fans, black and gold fans alike. Please get involved, exercise your right, express your college football voice. I want to hear from you, and I promise I will get back to each and every one of you individually. So please get involved, comment, like, share, subscribe. I want to find more college football fans just like you. Other parting thoughts on this game. As I mentioned, we do have one game remaining, so hopefully Iowa is able to, refresh, recharge, and refocus during this week before traveling to Lincoln, because even though right now 9-2, and if they lose, they're 9-3, which, hey, 9-3 in the regular season is nothing to throw any dirt or shade on at all. But if you get to 10 wins in the regular season, that is what the best upper echelon programs do in this nation. So to get to 10 wins would be a huge opportunity, especially when you look at everything that has gone on this season with Iowa. The ups and downs, the ebbs and flows that we've seen. Like I said, I already mentioned the poor offense, and everybody knows about that. But think of the injuries we've had to go through. I mean, very early in the season, we lose both of our stud tight ends, tight end Luke Lachey, tight end Eric All. Both are all Big Ten caliber tight ends. And those were hands down going to be Iowa's best weapons on offense. So they are both said they are coming back. We lose them early on. In Game 5 in the first half, we lose transfer portal quarterback Cade McNamara, who was supposed to be the savior of our offense. He goes down with injury. And then just late last week, unfortunately, the great Cooper DeJean had a lower leg injury. He has already been announced he will miss the rest of the season, including the upcoming bowl game and Big Ten title game as well, obviously. And more than likely, he will be moving on to the next level. He's projected as a first round and a top 10 pick on most draft boards as of today, I checked. So highly doubtful that Cooper DeJean will be back. So that's a huge loss in the defensive backfield. And on the special teams, the guy is an electric dynamite punt returner. So all of these injuries we've had, yet Iowa able to get to 9-2, potentially to 10 wins with a division crown. It's really, really incredible, and it's something that is hard to believe. And I get it. The Big Ten West was down this season, and I mean lower level, sub-basement down, but still, to potentially get to 10 wins, it's really incredible. And you have to give props and kudos to this team, especially this coaching staff, to keep them on that path of believing in themselves, believing in each other, and accomplishing this feat. Illinois, I really like the future. I mean, I know that John Paddock, the backup quarterback who really has rejuvenated their offense the last few weeks, I believe he is a senior, but I don't quite know if he's a fifth-year senior or not. So I don't know if he'll be returning to the Fighting Illini. Illinois fans, please let me know. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I like what he brought, and Illinois had a great game plan. And I really like this quarterback because he's very, very decisive. And I told my friends that I watched this game with that he is doing exactly what you need to do against an Iowa defense. You take exactly what they give you. He was absolutely torching Iowa underneath. There weren't really any big plays down the field. There were a couple of big gainers because guys made a few defensive backs miss tackles. But Illinois did exactly what you can do against Iowa, is just kind of dink and dunk them and just move those chains. And he was getting rid of that ball so quickly. I mean, I think Iowa ended up having only 1 sack on the day. So kudos to John Paddock. And with Brett Bielema, who I love, Coach Burt, I think 3 years ago I said on this channel he was the best offseason coaching hire. I know the Fighting Illini took a step back this year after last season, but that was expected with all of the talent they lost to the NFL. And just to refresh your memories, for some of you who watched my bold predictions and crystal ball predictions episode preseason, yours truly, picked Illinois to win the West Division, all right? So that proves I am not some Homer Simpson, all right? I thought Illinois had what it was going to take to get it done, and if they would have played like this most of the season, they could have very easily won, I think, the West Division. So I love this Illinois team, and hopefully they keep plugging along and keep doing their thing, because it's hard for me not to root for them. I mean, I had so many friends back in the day and still who root for the Fighting Illini. Always a team that I keep close down here, but never, ever anything closer than my Hawkeyes, just to clear the air there. All right. The only negative thing I really need to say about either team, all right, is I've got to put an APB out on Coach Bielema. If I had a siren right now, I would be lighting it off and just telling people, okay, if you've watched my previous episodes, I think you are with me if you've watched college football this season. Coaching continues to get worse and worse every single season and every single week. I have no idea what the hell these coaches are doing half of the time. Your job as a coach, and I'm a coach. I coach my daughter's softball teams. I currently coach my son's 6th grade basketball team for the school, which our first game's coming up here shortly. So wish him and wish me luck. That your job as a coach, just like a parent, is to put your team in the best position for success and to teach them lessons about the game, sportsmanship, and life. And what Coach Brett Bielema did late in the 4th quarter was exactly the opposite of that. Let me go ahead and rewind and bring you up to speed on what I'm referring to. Iowa had just broken through, scored a touchdown on the 30-yard touchdown run by Caleb Johnson, and the point after was missed. So it's 15-13. Illinois gets the ball back. They get stopped. It's 4th and 2. There's 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. Illinois has the ball on their own 34-yard line, okay, with 2 timeouts. They line up, they send the punter out, and that makes total sense. But then Brett Bielema takes one of his 2 timeouts, sends his offense back on the field, goes for it on 4th down. It gets batted down. Ball game. Start the bus. Start the celebration. It's over. What the hell are you doing? All right, 3:45 and 2 timeouts. Do you not know the inconsistency of the Iowa offense? Actually, I'll put it this way. The consistency of their offense, and it's not a good consistency. You know who they are. You know that getting the ball back, they're going to try to run out the clock. You have a backup quarterback in there for Iowa. They haven't really moved the ball very well all day. You have a backup punt returner, his first start of the year, filling in for the injured Cooper DeJean. You have timeouts. You have, turnovers that could occur. You could have penalties. Kick it back to Iowa. You're down 2, a field goal, not ties it, but wins it. What the hell are you doing? If you're down 4, between 4 and 7 points, I get going for it there. But you're down 2. 2 points. And there wasn't much wind inside Kinnick Stadium. Punt deep, get the ball back, a field goal wins. And you're playing for everything, as I already stated. They still had a chance to win the Big Ten West. Brett Bielema should be absolutely ashamed of himself. And that's hard for me to say because I am a fan of old Bert, Big Bert, and quite frankly, he's getting bigger and bigger every season, guys. I mean, that's one of our own. Back in the day, played for the University of Iowa, started his coaching career on the sidelines in Iowa City, but you cannot make that call. I want any Illinois fan, any Iowa fan, any college football fan out there, I am challenging you. I want you to comment below and make a legit case and statement and your argument of why you agree with doing that there. Because no matter what it is, I've thought hard about this, but I was absolutely floored when he did this. At that point, that gave his team no chance to win the game. None. And that's not what you do as a coach. You get paid way too much to do that. But it gets worse and worse. It doesn't matter. You watch any game, any college football Saturday or Friday night, you're going to see bad coaching. It's go for it-itis. They don't understand. Sometimes you need to go to the top shelf, reach that book that's way in the back, blow off and rub off the cobwebs and the dust, and Senor Manuel, Mr. Football Manual. Sometimes you just have to follow it. The new age of analytics, that's BS. It's a cop-out. It's just bad decision play. It's bad football, okay? And I'm sick and tired of it. And Iowa normally does not do that. And that's why I believe Iowa normally is going to win these type of games, because they don't hurt or beat themselves. I couldn't believe it. Illinois fans, if I was the AD, I would call Coach Bielema in the locker room and tell him, you know what, Brett? Don't even worry about getting on the team bus or the team plane. You need to find your own way back to Champaign-Urbana tonight. All right? That's what they needed to do. And these coaches have to be pressed and answer for their ills. They do. It's just ridiculous. All right? That's the only negative thing that I have to say about this game in general. It was a great contest, but I still don't understand why he did that. I just don't. And I'm not one of those who says one play makes or breaks a game. It doesn't. There's steps, there's plays inside of plays, but that one, oh boy, that one I think is going to be remembered in Champaign for all the wrong reasons. At the end of the game, on a lighter note, it was great to see that moment of Coach Kirk Ferentz and his son, much embattled OC Brian Ferentz, who will not be returning to Iowa next season. He has basically been fired, relieved of his position after the bowl game. To see them embrace and overcome with emotion, the Iowa players to celebrate with Brian Ferentz as well, it was good to see. I mean, because that is a special moment between father and son. And, it's something that I'm not making an argument or standing up, or I'm not necessarily a proponent of keeping Brian and maybe even Kirk Ferentz there. I do believe that Iowa needed and does need to move in a new direction, maybe get some fresh perspective on things. So I was totally okay in agreement with letting Brian Ferentz go. And I'm just telling you right now, Hawk fans, based on his emotion and his press conference, I think we've seen the last of Coach Kirk Ferentz in Iowa City. I think after the bowl game, he is going to ride off into the sunset on a Harley Davidson with Brian on back. And I think that will be announced before the bowl game that he is going to walk away and hang it up in Iowa City. I just have that feeling. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not. But it just seems to me, I got that feeling that this is going to be the last dance, the final encore for Coach Kirk Ferentz for the Big Ten title game and then the bowl game. So where do the teams go from here? Next week, Illinois returns home to take on their in-state rival Northwestern. And Illinois needs a victory to get to bowl eligibility. And I've got to give a quick salute and props to Northwestern. They defeated Purdue on Saturday to punch their ticket to a 13th game. They're bowl eligible. Hands down one of, if not the best story of the entire college football season. They're going bowling after everything that went on pre-season with the scandal, the firing of longtime tenured coach Pat Fitzgerald, a team that went 1-11 last season. They're going bowling under interim coach Braun, who's now the long-term coach. What a great season and a great story. I mean, that man who had zero coaching at the Power 5 level absolutely saved Northwestern's program. I mean, what a great story. And I am so proud of those young men to keep their fortitude and stay together and continue to believe. I mean, what a great story there in Evanston. So that's what Illinois goes. Iowa, like I said, they travel to Lincoln to take on Big Red and the Huskers on Black Friday. Now, I did pick Iowa to go 9-3 preseason during my bowl predictions episode. I did pick Nebraska to win this matchup, so it wouldn't be a huge surprise to me. But I just say we go in there and kick their ass. I mean, quite frankly, I hate cursing, and I have no animosity to really any fan bases. I don't use the word hate because that's a very, very strong word. But my dislike of Nebraska, the program, and their fans kind of continues to grow year by year. And I don't want it to be that way, but they've given me reasons to kind of go towards that. And when I know most of them dislike, even hate Iowa, and I don't really even know the reasons why, but I think after last year when they defeated us on Black Friday in Iowa City, that ruined our trip to Indy last season, and this guy was in attendance for that game with my son and my brother. So that was tough to sit through, but then the Nebraska fans definitely made it worse. And unfortunately, maybe we shouldn't have sat in the Nebraska section, but maybe we were asking for it. But yeah, it was not an enjoyable time sitting in that section during and after that game especially. But that's where we go, and congratulations to the Iowa Hawkeyes once again. Can't wait to see you in the Big Ten title game. I'll talk more about that here in the weeks to come. Hope you enjoyed my episode. I will be back Tuesday. It's a short week for me with the Thanksgiving holiday, and if you aren't back, I say to you, happy Thanksgiving in advance. Travel safe. Enjoy your time with your families, your friends, and remember to give thanks for all of the gifts and blessings that we have. If you please subscribe, like, share, comment. I can't wait to hear from you, the college football fans and fanatics. So until Tuesday, thank you for checking me out here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Congratulations, Black and Gold Nation again. Go Hawks, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.